It's a constant temperature room, and anything that's green, that's the Prochlorococcus growing. My name is Penny Chisholm. I'm an oceanographer, and I'm interested in microorganisms in the oceans and the role that they play, and I study a particular species of microscopic plant that's called Prochlorococcus. This one, I see it's called AS9601, which means it was isolated from the Arabian Sea. So they all have their own personality and their own genetic makeup that was selected for by the properties of the ocean from which we isolated them. Prochlorococcus is the smallest and most abundant photosynthetic cell in the oceans. And it was only discovered 25 years ago, so it's very humbling to us that this is something that's so important, and we didn't know it existed until then. And there are an estimated billion of these tiny cells in the oceans. They're less than a micron in diameter, which means that if you lined up 100 of them, they'd be about as wide as a human hair. That's how small they are. And they're extremely important in the oxygen production by the oceans, and they're at the base of the ocean food web. About 3.5 billion years ago, some cells who are the ancient ancestors of Prochlorococcus had mutations that allowed them to build this biochemistry of photosynthesis. And in doing that, they split water, which is H2O, and that oxygen was released into the atmosphere, and that's actually what put the oxygen in the atmosphere on Earth that we enjoy today. And if these cells hadn't discovered, so to speak, photosynthesis, there wouldn't be oxygen in our atmosphere, and we certainly never would have evolved. And I realize that most people absolutely do not appreciate this process, which is the most profound and important process on Earth. So I figure the best way to reach children and adults that read books to them is to write children's picture books about photosynthesis. In the open ocean, you see only blue water. Then where are the ocean's green plants? They're right before your eyes. They're everywhere, in countless shapes and sizes. But they're so small you need a microscope to see them. A billion of these tiny plants, that's one followed by 27 zeros, are drifting in your seas. They're called phytoplankton. Phytoplankton form the great invisible pasture of the sea. We thought originally that Prochlorococcus was one thing, and the more we isolated different strains from different oceans and sequenced their DNA and looked at them, we realized that there are hundreds of thousands of different variants. They all look alike, but genetically they're significantly different. So what we've come to learn is that what contributes to the stability of this group in the oceans and why you see it everywhere is this extraordinary diversity. It changes the way you think about the meaning of a species. That it's not about individuals, it's about what the collective and how it can function ecologically. We just keep following Prochlorococcus and studying what it presents in front of us, and the more we learn, the less we know. And we estimate that 10% of the total photosynthesis on Earth, this extremely important process, without which we'd all be dead, is done by Prochlorococcus, because it's a significant fraction of the ocean photosynthesis, and the oceans are half of the global photosynthesis. So that's a basic research discovery that really changes the way we think about and the way we model the carbon cycle of the Earth.